Hello everyone. My name is Anthony Benning and I'm going to be your instructor for English 1302, or otherwise known as Composition 2. In this video I'm going to provide an introduction to not only myself but also to the course in Blackboard and to its layout. So if you have any questions, be sure and let me know. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so first what I'm going to do is actually show you the landing page or the announcements page of the course. In fact, this is actually what the course should look like whenever you log in. Now, on the announcements, as you can see here with the first welcome announcement, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be posting an announcement at the start of every week, so every Monday. You'll get an announcement that will often give you a reminder of any assignments that are due this week, and also I will also provide some tips and suggestions for helping you to complete those assignments. Now, the next one that's listed here on this menu bar on the left-hand side is faculty information. So this is the information that you will be able to, this is the place where you'll be able to find the information you need in order to contact me. Now, for the most part, email and texting, which can be done at this cell phone number right here, are going to be the best ways of communicating with me. Those are the ones in which I respond to the quickest. So typically with an email or a text, I may respond within a couple of minutes, or I may respond within an hour or two. Now, if I don't respond within 24 hours, you definitely want to try and send up a follow-up, because that means I didn't get the message itself. Now, if you're uncomfortable with texting or with email, I will also talk to you on the phone if need be. The phone number here is the office phone number. That's the phone number for this office right here on OC's campus. And you can also call this number here. Now, it is a Google Voice number, I'm sorry. So you will need to leave a voicemail on this one. In fact, for the office phone and for the cell phone, if you're going to call, please leave a voicemail that tells me who you are, what class you're in, and also what phone number is the best place to contact you, in addition to the question that you may have. Now, listed here are my office hours. Those are the times in which I will be in my office to meet with students, all right, unless I have some other meeting on campus that's preventing me from doing so. Now, I am in my office a majority of the day, so if you ever walk by my office and you see the door open, or if you see a lights on, then by all means, please let me know. Now, I don't have it listed here, though I should. But since this is a web course, and I know that some of you may not be able to make it to OC's campus, we can also meet too in this section here, or where it says Blackboard Collaborate. Essentially, Blackboard Collaborate is Blackboard's Skype feature, where we can actually send messages to each other like an instant messenger, or we can chat that way, or we can actually do video conferencing through Blackboard Collaborate. So if you'd like to meet in an online environment, I'm happy to do that as well. Just send me an email or send me a text, and we can schedule a time to meet. Now, the next section in the menu bar is a course information. Now, this section here includes the entire course syllabus in all its glory. However, it is much too long for me to discuss here in this video, and I'm trying to keep this video short. But I do suggest looking at this syllabus for all the information that you need for the course. We also have a course outline that gives you a broad picture of what the course is going to cover. Now, the most important part of this section here is the course calendar. Now, this section is where I've listed out everything, basically everything that's due and everything that we plan on doing for the entire term. So the term itself is separated into modules. That includes Module 1, the research proposal, Module 2, the reader response, and Module 3, the research essay. And then each of those modules is actually going to be broken up even further into weeks. So for example, we have week 1 here, and week 2, week 3, and so on. Right? So under each section, you'll see a section that says assignments due. This is the stuff that's going to be due that week. So for example, you have your first assignment due, the first response is due Monday, and then replies are due Tuesday in a discussion board. And the discussion board is titled Week 1 Introductions. You also have a journal response that is due Friday. So those are the two major assignments that you have to do this week. And for the most part, most assignments are going to be due on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, with the exception of a few, with a few exceptions, like for example this Tuesday assignment. But for the most part, almost everything is going to be due on a Monday, Wednesday, or Friday. Right. Now I did notice an error up here. This course doesn't have a theme, but so I will go ahead and fix that here in a little bit. But in case some of you may be confused, in this course we actually don't have a theme. The research essay is actually going to be an open research essay assignment. So just disregard that, unless you want to talk about mental illness and disorders. Okay, so that is the course calendar. Please do keep track of this course calendar. Now, every week I will essentially copy and paste what is due into the weekly announcements, but still it's a good idea to actually keep track of what's in the calendar so that way you don't get lost. All right, next up is the coursework section. Now, this is where you're going to be spending most of your time in this course. Each module has its own folder. So we've got the research proposal, reader response, research essay, and then we do have an additional module that only has the final exam in it. The last folder here is resource materials, and that's exactly what's included in is exactly what it says. So this is materials that I'm not going to assign specifically, but it is definitely material that you can use to help you improve your performance in this course. Now, each of the modules, with the exception of the final exam, are organized in exactly the same way. So I'm only going to cover Module 1 in this video. Let's go ahead and take a look. Now, in each one, you do see, so in each module, you'll see a folder for the research proposal, which is essentially the capstone assignment for that module. And then you'll find the discussion boards. So I'm actually going to click on the research proposal real quick. And this is the assignment for, these are the instructions for the research proposal. Now, the proposal itself is meant to be an introduction to a topic that you want to research further into. So it's essentially you informing me what you plan to research. It is not an argumentative essay, and a lot of students miss that whenever they do turn in the research proposal. They think they have to have an answer right away. But that's not the case for the proposal. I'm not expecting an answer. I don't want an answer. Essentially, I just want to know about your topic, why did you come up with that topic, and what you plan to do with it. Okay. So definitely you do want to read these instructions very carefully. Right. In the research proposal, I even provide an outline for you that you definitely need to follow. This is how I'm going to grade your essay. So you definitely want to follow this outline as closely as you possibly can. Now, when it comes to actually submitting the research proposal, once you've finished, you do want to click on the link that's provided up here. And you want to scroll down until you see Browse My Computer. Now this, and of course you want to click on that. Now this will of course open up this window here where you actually get to scroll through all your files and be able to find the file that you need. Now once you find the file that you need, you want to hit open and then it'll appear here beneath the dotted line. Now when it comes to assignments in Blackboard, Blackboard works best with doc files and PDFs. So those are the two file types that you need to submit. If you have questions on how to submit those type of files or how to get those files types, please let me know. I'm familiar with both Macs and PCs, and I'm also familiar with Google Docs too as well. So if you have questions about how to use those programs in order to make sure that you do submit a doc file or a PDF, let me know and I'll be able to help you out. Once you've attached the file, you want to check this box right here where it says plagiarism tools. I use SafeAssign to check for plagiarism within assignments, so you definitely want to click on that. And then once you're finished, all you have to do is hit submit. I'm not going to do that since I'm not submitting an assignment, so I'm just going to hit cancel. And that is the research proposal. Now I'm going to go back to this portion of the folder, and I'm going to look at discussion boards. Now, discussion boards are where you're going to spend most of your time because those are where we have most of the assignments. So for example, this is where you'll find the week 1 introductions discussion board and also the journal response and even longer discussion board topics. So for the most part, there are 2 types of discussion boards. I'm not including the introduction here because that's a pretty easy and very different assignment. It's the only type of assignment that you'll find. So instead, what I'll do is I'll focus on the journal response and the longer discussion boards here. So in the journal responses, what you're going to do is you're going to write down 3 things that you learned up to this point in this course. That can be things that you either learned from me directly or things you learned in your research. Now, the next thing you want to do is you want to write down 2 things that you found interesting and would like to know more about. And then the last portion of the journal is you need to ask a question. Now, in these first 2 sections of the journal, I need you to be as specific as possible. So for example, if a statement like, I learned about mental illness is way too broad. You want to state something that's really specific. So for example, you can say something like, I learned that depression is the most common form of mental illness in the United States. That's something that's a little bit more specific. In the last portion, the question, I want you to ask open-ended questions. So that's questions that have multiple answers, as opposed to something that's definitive or only has one answer. So for example, you don't want to ask something like, when is the first essay due? The reason for this is because the questions lead to the extra credit. And so to help your fellow students out, if you ask a question that only has one answer, only one student gets to answer that question and gets the credit. So do try to ask open-ended questions in this section. Now to do that, you you need to click on the link, and the next section here you want to create a thread. So there's nothing there now, but as soon as students start posting things, you'll be able to actually see their posts with their name attached to it. So you want to create a thread. And you want to give it a title, so you can say something like journal response. And I'd suggest actually including your name in it as well, especially if it's a name that you prefer, or if there's a name that's different from the one that is the official name that OC has. So if you'd like to be called something else, you can definitely post your name here. Now, I'm not looking for specific things in terms of formatting here, so as long as I can tell that you've got all of the components for the assignment, you'll do just fine on this assignment. Now, you can either type the assignment here directly into this message box, or you can type it into a word processing program like Word and then copy and paste it into this box. Right? But for the discussion boards, do not use the attachment feature here because we don't want to have to leave Blackboard in order to read your assignments. So just for the discussion boards, type your message directly into this message box. Once you've actually typed your message, you can hit submit, and you've submitted the assignment. All right, so let's go ahead and go back to coursework, module 1, discussion boards. All right, so that's the journal response. Now, the other type of discussion board that you're going to have is a much longer one, and it's going to be a bit more involved. It'll typically mean that you'll have a prompt that you'll have to answer in the discussion board. And so, like for example, this one, now usually there'll be multiple questions there, but for the first larger discussion board, there's only one. Now, what you need to do is you need to write a 200 to 300 word response that answers the question below. So for example, this question is, what does the topic identify 1 or 2 topics that you would like to learn about, and what does that topic interest you? All right? Or how does that topic interest you? Now, these discussion boards are meant to be practice for body paragraphs, so you will need to structure them that way. So definitely read these instructions very carefully. So for example, you see here that a body paragraph should have a topic sentence, it should include specific evidence, and it needs to have a thorough explanation of how that evidence supports the topic sentence. So make sure you do follow those instructions very carefully. Now, when it comes to these discussion boards, they will typically be due on a Wednesday, at least the initial response will be, and the replies will be due on a Friday. As for the journal responses, they will typically be due on a Monday, unless there's another assignment that's going to be due on Monday, in which case the journal responses will be due on a Friday. All right, so that is the basically what is going to be covered in modules 1, 2, and 3 in terms of their structure. As I said, the final exam only has one thing in it, and that is exactly the final exam. So once again, as with all assignments, read instructions very carefully. I know that sometimes this can be a lot of text, but it does take a little bit more effort on your part because reading on a computer screen can be distracting, or it can be more difficult. So it's easier. It becomes more easier for your eyes to kind of skim things as opposed to read things carefully. So definitely try to work on that. All right, now the final section I'm going to talk about in this video is going to be my grades. So this is where you'll be able to see what your overall average is in the course. So for example, the weighted grade is set up so that way anytime I enter a grade for you, you'll have a running total of what your average is. So you'll always know what your average is in the class. Now the next things that are listed are the major assignments of the course. Now, there are 4 major assignments in the class. There's the research proposal, the reader response essay, the research essay, and the final exam. Each of these are the only grades that are in their own category, so you definitely want to make sure that you get these assignments in. Missing one of them is detrimental to your grade. Missing 2 of them, you will definitely fail, even if you do excellent on everything else. The other assignments here that are listed here are of course, all the discussion boards. Now, if you notice, with each assignment, there is a rubric that is attached to it. So there's a blue link just below the title. Now, these are the rubrics I'm going to use to grade each of your assignments. Now, each assignment has its own rubric, so you definitely want to review these before you submit your assignment, so that way you can actually put hopefully your best work forward. All right, and that is our course in Blackboard. As always, if you have any questions, be sure and let me know. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have. In addition, if you see anything that is either incorrect or inaccurate in the course, be sure and let me know so that we can go ahead and fix it as quickly as possible.